What's up, guys? Alex Tackett here, and I'm too lazy to figure out how to write down what I have to say, and I'm also practicing learning how to be seen on camera. So here we are. I want to start a conversation about what it means to be trauma-informed, and I want to hear what you guys think, because naturally, and as it should, my understanding of how I approach being trauma-informed in all of my modalities of the work that I do has evolved over the years, and I'm noticing some corners kind of being cut or things being kind of misconstrued in the yoga, coaching, and wellness industry, unfortunately, as they often are. So I'm going to start this conversation by talking about my own experience and what it means to me to be trauma-informed and the patterns that I'm starting to see. So I'll start with what being trauma-informed means. And being trauma-informed means that you, in whatever you're doing, so I do business coaching, yoga teaching, body work, retreat holding, all sorts of probably other stuff I forgot about. But in whatever modality of work that I'm doing, I bring with me the understanding of how trauma and negative and really all of your life experiences affect how you show up and affect how you react and affect how you just kind of navigate this world. So something shitty happening to you in the past affects how you build your business, and you might be triggered by certain things or have certain reactions that are caused by something that maybe wouldn't trigger someone else. So we step into these spaces with that understanding and knowing that there is a way to hold a safe space to navigate things that might come up having to do with that, and to create a safe space around whatever those triggers will be so that you can navigate them safely, because it's in navigating them that we're able to actually absolve them or make our way out of triggers or take our power back from our triggers. So I was super lucky. The very first trauma-informed training I did was part of my first yoga teacher training in 2013. And I was super lucky to get to work with the practitioners that I did, really awesome, experienced yoga therapists that work in prisons and women's shelters and homeless shelters. And as part of our training, we were taught how to hold space for people experiencing trauma, either actively triggered or very easily triggered and dealing with pretty intense physical or emotional or sexual abuse. And so learning how to navigate those spaces in what is kind of naturally triggering, which is moving in a yoga class, or even breathing, or even closing your eyes can be triggering and not feel safe. So learning how to navigate that and create a space where someone has a choice to or not to participate, and being mindful with our words that in and of itself, we're not assuming that certain things are okay or not okay. So in the almost a decade since that I've done a bunch of different trainings, trauma-informed, and in my own healing work. So my own healing journey, I always say, is the most valuable teacher that I've had, despite, anything anyone else has taught me. So in working through my own triggers and my own trauma, I have learned to love my triggers, because it shows me where the work is. And I know that sounds ass backwards, probably from someone maybe not as much of a nerd as me, that they didn't have to change their whole life to be able to do this work and incorporate that into their business. So when I first started, though, the very, very beginning, I thought that the goal was to never trigger anyone. And I would step into a yoga teaching space, and my intention would be to make a space that's safe for everyone else. And I would do anything to make it safe for everyone else. But the person that I was leaving out of the equation was me. And I would sacrifice my energy and my body and kind of shape shift to whatever the room needed, which wasn't just a disservice to myself and led to a lot of burnout and trauma being inflicted upon me. Looking back, that's what I'm able to understand, but also in some ways could be a disservice to the people in my class or my clients, because my job is not to never trigger you. Like, my understanding now of what trauma informed is, my job is to create what I call now a brave space. So it's a safe space where you're able to be triggered and it's okay. Like, you're going to be safe still. So instead of just trying to tiptoe on eggshells and never be triggered and try to bounce around making sure that someone's not triggered, the work that I do, or I guess like the level that I'm at now with my clients, is that I actually allow them to be triggered and I can guide them through the triggers. And that way we can take our power back from the triggers by allowing something that used to be a pattern where when I get this feeling something bad is happening, or whatever the traumatic event was, and showing them bit by bit that you can meet this and you're safe and you're okay, and you're the one who's making it safe and you're the one who's making it okay. And I guess I want to say I see this misconstrued a bit because, and I see this in the yoga community so much, it's like people take a concept and then they run around with it and like shame other people for doing something that I don't like. They're not allowing the permission or the interpretation to be happening, and they're just running around shaming and judging everyone for like, that's not trauma informed. And as I talk to a lot of you, both my clients and just teachers in general, I'm hearing about all of this exhaustion after your one-on-ones or your group classes, and how dedicated you are. And it comes from like a loving, like true wanting to be of service space. But the reason why I'm noticing this trend of just being so drained and exhausted is because I don't think there's enough emphasis being placed on your own safety and your own personal boundaries and what the teacher needs. Like, we do enough of that. We do enough of making sure it's welcoming for everyone, being super accommodating, using our nonviolent communication to communicate. All of this shit. And also, honestly, like a lot of pressure on teachers and wellness practitioners to like alter based off of like what's happening in the world, alter these certain things in order to show up and keep up with what exactly is going on. And I agree that we need to pay attention and evolve. But when do the teachers' needs also get to be incorporated in that? And even for students too, it's like, I see people just like sucking teachers dry and being upset when things aren't going their way or whatever. And the teacher's just like trying to be really nice and accommodating. And I guess it's just kind of like, I guess I just want to say, like, yoga teachers and coaches and whoever, like, you're allowed to have boundaries. And if no one else is going to advocate for the teacher being able to show up as their whole selves and like have all of their energy and be able to piss people off for being a person, because you don't have to be perfect, like, that's a part of the healing journey for your students, even if you piss them off. And in yoga, like, the point is to be uncomfortable in the first place. That's how we grow. So yeah, I guess just wanted to start a conversation and see what you guys thought. And to anyone feeling exhausted or almost wanting to quit something they used to love, I just want to say that you're allowed to be included in that space too. And we need teachers and wellness practitioners to be able to show up as their whole selves. And we need you to hold a brave space for the rest of us to just have to sit in our own shit sometimes and our own triggers. So thanks for listening, guys.